Hi, Linda. Hi, John. How are you guys doing today?
All right. How you doing, Nathan?
I'm doing really well. I'm really excited about the concert you guys are going to be playing in just a few weeks called In Her Voice on Gallery Concerts. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about this is I believe that you two have a history of working together. How long have you guys been working together?
Oh gosh, it's been a while, hasn't it, John?
Yes, back when woolly mammoths stalked the savannah, Linda and I started to do lute songs together at Indiana University, which at the time was still a British colony. And well, it was a while ago anyway, like, close to 20 years, I suppose.
Yes.
Would have been the time that, and I was dreadful, and Linda was wonderful, and now I'm okay, and Linda is even more wonderful.
Oh, come on now.
Well, it's obvious the two of you have been at this for a while.
Yeah.
What is it about playing with just a solo singer in the art of monody that is so different than some of the other forms that you work in?
Well, it's to me, it's the most rewarding form of music making, accompanying a solo singer. I've been privileged at intervals through my professional life to get to work with Linda, and I'm usually in my professional life, I'm a member of a great big continuo section, and it's kind of like anything else you do in life. Anything done by committees inherently like a little less efficient, and generally a little less, or it's more efficient and often a little less interesting. Like I have wonderful people that I work with, but I really like the kind of freedom that is afforded to the singer to express herself when she has the, just the knowledge that there's only one person that she has to, direct with her voice, with her movements and things like that. So I tend to find monody solo song with a solo accompanist to be the most rewarding form of music making.
And Linda, how is it different singing with only one accompanist as opposed to singing with a larger ensemble or even an entire orchestra?
I would agree with everything John just said. It is far more freeing way of expressing oneself and the music. It is far more intimate with just one other person. And I feel like I get to express the music a lot more because of the freedom I have with just one other voice. So it also is my favorite form of making music. Not that I don't love orchestra and big works like that. Those are fun too, but for a completely different reason.
This program is specifically built around the fact that these are all works that were written by women composers in the 17th and 18th century. And some of these composers, maybe like Strozzi or Caccini, Francesca Caccini, we know a little bit more than some of the others that are on the program, like Catherine Phillips, for example. So, Linda, how is it different singing the works of women than it would be singing in the words of men?
It's especially exciting for me to sing works by women composers, both some of, as you mentioned, we know, but some who I didn't know of prior to this. So it's exciting to explore new works and bring to light these women. And yeah, I mean, representation is important, and I'm excited that more and more we are seeing a greater variety of representation in the arts, in both classical music, in movies, in just, art in general, media in general. I think it's a really exciting time. And even though it might be difficult in the early music world to find works by women, they are there, and it is worth digging and exploring. And I'm excited to share this music with the audience.
I'm never exactly sure how much a composer's biography should inform, our approach to their music, but it does. It definitely does. Like if you read about a composer and you think about their music, their biography has a great deal to do with, my approach to the music, with how I think about it, with, how I would say, oh gosh, well, how did this composer feel about loss or abandonment or love or whatever? And so, those combinations of things, sort of having some idea of what was going on in France, what was going on in the Italy of the time, what was going on in England, and and then thinking also, plague, fire, 30 years war, whatever, and you're a woman. It's like, whoa, oh, well, that adds another dimension to all of this. That is, it's a further challenge, and a further, like, might make me roll the chord differently, honestly.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to get different perspectives. Not fascinating, it's important to get different perspectives. And that's, I think, what's going to be one of the interesting elements of this program. Another thing that provides interest to this program, John, is that some of these pieces were written in England, some are written in France, some are written in Italy, which were all very different places during the 17th century. We didn't have this sort of homogenized culture that is more prevalent today. How do these different pieces written in different places compare and contrast?
One of the wonderful things about about playing the lute, and about the 17th century in general, is that this was such like an emotional time. Everybody was really feeling their feelings around about 1600 to 1700 or so, and they were feeling very, very strong feelings all the time, but those feelings are expressed in these very distinct national ways. And one has to be careful talking about it, because there's an approach to playing early music that actually relies on sort of stereotyping a given place. Like, boy, those French people sure do love to swing their eighth notes, don't they? Like that would be one sort of silly example, but a lot of the things that we would associate with Italian character, the development of opera, things like that, the great big huge expressions of emotion, and the sort of chest thumping craziness of that era in Italian poetry and drama and things, that comes through in the songs. And in much the same way, a lot of the elegance and sophistication that we would associate stereotypically with the France of the time, that comes through in their songs. And then in England is probably the most interesting case for me, because our image of England as a cultural place is very complicated. We as North Americans have a complex relationship with that culture. And one of the funny things about 17th century England is there's a letter, I can't remember the guy's name, but there's an Italian fella who took a big trip around England in the 17th century. And one of the things that this Italian fella said about England is, this is a great country. They've got some beautiful countryside. The people have been nothing but hospitable. But I'll tell you, English men, they just are some of the most emotional nut jobs I've ever met in my life. They just cry at the drop of a hat. It's the craziest thing. And, like sort of this idea of an Italian person visiting England, my name ends with a vowel, so, I feel okay talking about this, but sort of the idea of an Italian person going to England and saying, everybody's so emotional all the time. What am I going to, it's those sort of national characters that were very much in evidence in the music, they make it a really fascinating thing to get to put all these music alongside each other.
Well, I'm excited to hear both of you perform this music that often is just simply not performed often enough. So there are a handful of tickets remaining for all of you out there who are dying to hear two people who've been playing since time immemorial play some music that is not heard all that often. John Lenti and Linda Tsatsanis performing in her voice works of female composers of the 17th and 18th century for voice and lute. John, Linda, thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And freeze frame.